5. The Sunken War Gold of the Atlantic. In 2018, treasure hunters set sail in order to try and find 300 billion pounds, $389.6 billion worth of war gold from 700 wrecks identified at the bottom of the sea. This effort comes after countless years of research into the locations of more than 7,500 merchant vessels lost during both world wars. The cargoes were valuable because Britain was attempting to secure its economic future during the war, and as a result, many pieces of gold bullion were transported via ships to the US for safekeeping until after the conflict was over. The gold was also used to buy useful resources like ammunition and weapons, as well as other general goods to keep not only the servicemen, but also the general public in good shape. The British ensured that any information regarding ships with gold was classified, making it a challenge for researchers. Nonetheless, the team embarking on the expedition had a great track record, including discovering historical treasures like the HMS Victory, the Russian submarine Kursk, and German U-boats. What was impressive about this salvage attempt was that the team gathered a staggering 27 terabytes of data about the wrecks. They'd done their homework by studying all sorts of valuable sources, such as inquest documents and first-hand accounts from survivors. The reason that the treasure hunters are able to salvage these wrecks, even though they sank during the war, is because they were merchant ships. They aren't typically classified as war graves. This is despite the fact that many on board these vessels lost their lives, including child evacuees. But the team plans to place a commemorative plaque at each site they visit in order to honor those who died. The gold no longer belonged to its original owners, but the British government instead, under the War Risk Insurance Program. This meant that the team would be expected to share their find equally with the government. And this is due to the fact that the sheer amount of gold that was lost made it all uninsurable. According to the International Salvage Convention, the team is expected to share 50% of their find with the government. But even if they get just half of what they find, it would still be a hefty 150 billion pounds, or 194.8 billion US dollars. When it comes to exploring the ocean floor, the team is equipped with some seriously impressive technology. They'll be using side-scan sonars and remote-operated vehicles, ROVs, that can function at incredible depths of up to 16,400 feet, or 5,000 meters below the surface. These tools will help them carry out their operations effectively and gather valuable information about the wrecks they're searching for. To make the most out of their resources and keep costs manageable, the researchers have come up with a clever strategy. They'll focus their search on clusters of wrecks that are situated close to each other. And by doing this, they can optimize their efforts and make the most economical use of their resources. These groups of wrecks are primarily found in three main areas: the western approaches, the Caribbean, and off the west coast of Africa. In the early stages of their expedition, they'll start by targeting wrecks in shallower waters. This allows them to gradually build their expertise and gather important data before venturing into deeper areas. It's a smart approach that ensures they make progress while keeping things manageable. There's been no news as of yet, but who knows what this team will discover. 4. Precious family heirlooms. Imagine finding a hidden treasure that had been buried by your family over 70 years ago. Well, this is exactly the story of Jan Glazowski, who, at the age of 69 in 2023, unearthed a stash of Ukrainian silver coins that had been buried by his grandfather during World War II. At the time, the eastern town of Ivano-Frankivsk was actually part of Poland. And so, in 1939, as the Germans invaded the country, the family chose to flee, burying their heirlooms and valuable treasures on their estate in hopes that they'd be able to return. Only the head of the family, Adam Glazowski, remained on the estate to face the invading Russians, who threw him off his land and nearly killed him. However, his loyal staff intervened to save him. The 4 sons of Adam, realizing the grim prospect of living under Soviet rule if they went back, made the decision to settle in different parts of the world, severing all ties with their father. But they never forgot about the hidden treasure, preserving its memory throughout their lives. It was Jan's father, Gustav, who eventually told his son about the buried treasure. Gustav had fled to South Africa, and as he neared the end of his life, Jan pestered him to draw him a map of where the treasure was located so that he could search for it one day. So, in 1989, Gustav was forced to recall locations and memories he hadn't experienced for over 50 years. But he ended up drawing the map for his son and added some instructions as well. And one of the last pieces of writing on the map read, "You must find our silver and my hunting guns." Gustav died 2 years later in 1991, and ironically, he passed away when Ukraine gained its independence from the Soviet Union. However, it would be 10 years before Jan would finally be able to visit the site of the family estate. And it took another 18 years before he'd officially begin the search for their treasures in 2019. The manor house the family had lived in had long been destroyed by the Russians, but Jan's father had drawn out where it would have been located, allowing him and his niece, who joined the search, to be able to find the foundations and know they were on the right track. From there, the map led them across what was once a field, but was now covered in brushland. His father's instructions were to then dig where the forest starts. But of course, almost 80 years can mean a lot when it comes to a forest. However, Jan followed his instincts, and when the metal detectors started to go off, he was rewarded. They managed to dig up a large amount of silver pieces, including candlesticks and coins, which were easily worth thousands of dollars. But the most precious thing to Jan was finding his mother's jewelry, as she died when he was only 7 years old. Another item that he cherished was a silver christening spoon, which had his father's name engraved on it. So even though the treasure wasn't worth millions of dollars, to Jan Glazowski and his family, the find was truly priceless. What would you do if you found your family's lost treasures? Let us know in the comments down below, and don't forget to subscribe while you're at it. 3. The Merkus Mine Haul. Toward the end of World War II, the American Army made a significant discovery of Nazi gold in Germany. On April 4, 1945, as the American Army advanced north through Germany past Frankfurt, they reached the town of Merkus. The local residents, who'd been subjected to forced labor by the Nazis, informed the American soldiers about a large hidden gold stockpile in a nearby salt mine. The soldiers decided to investigate the rumors and proceeded to the mine. They encountered a massive vault door reminiscent of those found in major banks. After blasting open the door, they entered a chamber that measured 151 feet and 75 feet in width. And to their surprise, the chamber was filled with an extensive collection of items. The recovered artifacts included 8,307 gold bars, 55 boxes of gold bullion, 3,326 bags of gold coins, 63 bags of silver, and 1 bag of platinum bars. But that wasn't all. They also found 8 bags of gold rings and teeth, 3,682 bags of German currency, 80 bags of foreign currency, and 27 paintings by Rembrandt. Experts from the American Treasury and the Bank of England estimated that the gold alone in the chamber amounted to at least $262,213,000 at the time, which would be equivalent to approximately $4 billion in today's economic climate. Former President and then Allied Forces Commander Dwight D. Eisenhower visited the site to witness the magnitude of the discovery. The reason behind the Nazis' need to stockpile such a significant amount of gold was the necessity to pay for essential resources that Germany required for its war efforts. Countries like Portugal, Romania, Turkey, and Sweden, which supplied resources such as tungsten, oil, chrome, and ballistics, didn't accept German currency as payment. Therefore, the Nazis resorted to using gold to secure these items. However, the amount of gold needed exceeded the German reserves. And as a result, the Nazis looted gold from various sources, including the property of millions of Jews and others who were incarcerated in concentration camps. Anticipating that Merkus would fall under Soviet control once the war ended, the American soldiers swiftly relocated the contents of the vault to Frankfurt, which was under US occupation. And although General George Patton initially wanted to keep the discovered gold as a secret military fund, a significant portion of it was eventually returned to the countries from which it had been taken. Additionally, 6 tons, 5,443 kilograms of gold were allocated to the Holocaust Relief Fund. 2. Treasure at the Polish Palace. In 2022, treasure hunters in Poland discovered a significant amount of gold that had allegedly been buried underneath an 18th century palace near the village of Minkowski. The exact weight of the gold unearthed is uncertain, but it's stated to be over 4 tons, 3,629 kilograms. The team employed the use of georadar technology to survey the area and also relied on a diary attributed to an SS officer. This diary was considered crucial because during World War II, the palace, which is now in ruins, was reportedly utilized as a brothel by the SS forces operating in the region. The foundation responsible for the excavation is known as the Silesian Bridge, named after the region of Poland in which they operate. And according to their claims, the gold discovered was originally deposited at the Reichsbank in Breslau and was later stolen by Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS, in the final months of the war. The alleged purpose of this theft was to fund the establishment of the Fourth Reich and to be used for agricultural development in Ukraine to sustain the envisioned new Reich. The group acquired classified documents and a treasure map provided by the descendants of Waffen-SS officers associated with a secretive lodge that purportedly had a history spanning over 1,000 years. Among the documents discovered was a diary attributed to a wartime SS officer, which mentions the existence of 11 hidden locations where treasures from World War II were concealed during the war's final months. The diary indicates that a considerable amount of gold, artwork, valuable items, and religious artifacts were carefully hidden in secure locations throughout the Lower Silesia region to prevent them from falling into enemy hands. The diary specifically identifies an officer named Michalis, who allegedly acted as a liaison between high-ranking SS officers and local aristocrats seeking assistance in safeguarding their properties from advancing Soviet forces near the end of the war. It's suggested that Michalis was associated with a religious group known as the Quedlinburgers, who provided the diary and other information to the treasure hunters. During the 1930s and 1940s, the town of Quedlinburg in Lower Saxony, Germany was reportedly associated with Nazi cult worship due to its historical ties to Henry the Fowler, the first German king who reigned during the 10th century. According to the Silesian Bridge Foundation, the group in Quedlinburg, which is still active today, includes descendants of SS officers who now seek to make amends for the actions of their ancestors and Germany during World War II, particularly towards Poland. Using georadar technology, the treasure hunters detected a reading beneath the conservatory of the palace, and they obtained permission from the Polish Heritage Trust to excavate the site. During the excavation, the team discovered a canister that matched the description provided in the documents. The metal container measured approximately 4.9 feet, or 1.5 meters in height, and 1.5 feet, or 0.5 meters in circumference. However, the canister hasn't been opened yet, as it requires thorough examination and disarmament by the military due to the high possibility, based on their intelligence, that it might be booby-trapped. Nonetheless, it's highly likely that the gold and other valuable items are still inside the canister. 1. The stolen Confederate gold in Lake Michigan. In 2015, 2 treasure hunters believed that they'd found the wreckage of a ship containing $2 million of stolen Confederate gold. The pair, Kevin Dijkstra and Frederick J. Monroe, believe that the wreck of a tugboat they've uncovered in Lake Michigan may contain the proceeds that were stolen from the Confederates during the American Civil War. The location remained a tight-lipped secret for many years, until a deathbed confession by a man named George Alexander Abbott, who revealed the location of the wreck. But even then, it would take a while for anyone to follow up on this information, as Monroe was only told about it in 1972, 51 years after Abbott's passing. Getting his friend Dijkstra, a trained driver, involved meant that the pair now had a good chance of trying to find the wreck based on the decades-old information that had been relayed to them. The gold had been on a boxcar that was being carried by a tugboat, but the boxcar fell off the vessel. Dropping boxcars was pretty common back in the late 1800s, when they'd be routinely dumped in order to lighten the cargo of the ship carrying them. When diving one day in their search, the pair picked up a ship on their sonar. Upon investigating, they were able to see that the tugboat was remarkably intact. And next to the cabin door of the 70-foot, 21.3-meter vessel was a safe. It's not exactly clear if the men were able to pry the safe open, but they believed it contained the stolen Confederate gold. Which one of these wartime treasure troves did you find the most fascinating? Let us know in the comments down below. And if you're new here, be sure to subscribe to the channel to be notified every time we post a video. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye!